Welcome to Shovelware Diggers. Our dig team is currently excavating the Softkey Shareware 2000 Hit Games 2CD collection. You can find a link in the video description listing the entire directory structure of this archive. Here's what our diggers have for week 283. For more information on how to join the dig team, simply follow the Patreon link in the video description. Now, without further ado, let's get to it. First up, Saint of Streets has dug up WINGAMES /unclassified /DEQUOTER. I'm trying to think what this could possibly be. Like, you're trying to take quotes of something, but you're like deconstructing them maybe? I don't know. DEQUOTER. We got a help text id.diz. We got a mid file? There's no way there's MIDI music in this. This is probably going to be some... I'm not sure what to expect here. This is just really weird. Let's see what the diz says. DEQUOTER 1.0 for Windows 3.1 from Shareware. Challenging quote decryption game that features 56 color graphics, digitized sound, music, and animations. What? Over 200 quotes from Shakespeare to Satchel Paige will puzzle and entertain you. Okay. So maybe this is MIDI music? I don't know what to expect here. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I just noticed the file size of the executable here is 642 kilobytes. That's, gonna have some data in it. Well, let's see what the text file here says. Okay, the text file is literally just a very basic installation procedure, so that's no help. What about the actual help file? Well, the actual help file doesn't have a lot of help on the game itself, but I did find the registration form, and it says that it's $12 US, so it's not terrible. So let's actually try playing this thing. Okay, we got a fixed size window, and just heard a sound of... Well, there's the MIDI music, and it is really loud. Okay, I actually had to go into my mixer here to decrease the volume of that MIDI music because yikes, that was loud. I've never had that happen before where the sound effects in a game are that different in volume. Okay, I think that's going to be good enough. Keep that minimized to remind me that I changed that. Okay, so let's get this centered on screen and then let's try to play this thing. So we already see a timer in the corner here. We got some buttons at the side. Got options, which is just sound and music. High scores, which, yeah, looks like default high scores, I guess. It's actually kind of difficult to, well, not the help. It's kind of difficult to read this font, actually. I'm not sure why. Like, yellow on dark gray isn't terrible. I think it's just the fact that the lettering for this font is kind of pixely. Okay, so let's try playing this. So, new game. Okay, so it looks like the music continues even after starting here. So it looks like this is just going to be one of these simple, letter... or, wait. Look at this. A, B, C, D, E, F, G? Really? It's going to be all in a row right here? That seems a little odd. Unless it's just the way the way it's handling the re-encryption of it or whatever. I don't know, that's just, I've never... That's either intentional or something's wrong with the random number generator. Okay, so how's this gonna work? Do we adjust... Oh. Okay, so you click on the letter you want to assign, and then you click where you want it to go. Now, can we use the keyboard for this? We cannot. Every key I push on the keyboard does absolutely nothing for the selection. So you absolutely have to use the mouse, which is a little annoying, but I'll deal with it. Okay, good, and if you right-click on a letter, it removes the thing that you've done. So that way you can take a letter off if you made a mistake or something. So that's good. But we're starting off here with a single letter word right here. So this has to be either an A or an I. Cannot be anything else. And just looking at the rest of this phrase here, I'm thinking it's going to be I'm thinking it's going to be either, well, again, it has to be an A or an I. Oh, and I just noticed there's a timer counting down. I think I'm going to restart it. If I hit new game, is it... Okay. Take a look at what happened here. HIJKLMN. It's like cycling through the letters when it's trying to put it all into place. Like, I mean, this doesn't make the puzzle any easier or harder. It's just weird the way it's doing that. So anyways, Q is the one we've got to worry about now here. So one of the tricks with this puzzle here is that it's actually, there's actually not a lot of words to it, and that makes it a bit trickier to figure out. Yeah, this time limit seems almost arbitrary, because what's going to end up happening is if it runs out, then I'm just going to have to start the puzzle over. But I'll already have remembered some of the progress I made. Like, right here, we can see this 3-letter word ends with the same 2 letters that this 4-letter word ends with, but that letter there has to be repeated twice, so it's very limited in what letter it could be. Okay, so I'm about to run out of time. Let's see what actually happens when the timer expires here. Okay. So the game just ends. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of what I expected to happen. Yeah, this one's got me pretty stumped actually, because this letter here doesn't really affect much. The only other place it is right here. And yet, because it's a single letter, it can really only be A or I. But either of those seems like it would take away from whatever other words are in this phrase. So it makes it really tricky to figure out, like, which letter it should be. And then on top of that, these 2 letters here, for whatever this 2-letter word is, makes a huge difference over here. Yeah, this one's got me pretty stumped. I probably could figure it out if I spent like an hour on this, but this is a really hard one to start, puzzle to start with. Can we actually advance to other ones, or do we have to play these in order? Or, you know, I guess I could always just use that hint feature. Okay, let's set it to new. Let's take the hint. Okay, so that's O. If that's O, then that definitely decreases a lot of possibilities here. Okay, and if we go for another hint, well, that one doesn't help very much. In fact, I think what it's doing is the hint is just going in order of these letters. If I ask for another hint, it's probably just gonna do the P here. Okay, I hit the hint button, and now we've got O-U-T? Outside? That's the only word I can think of that would fit there. So if you do outside... Oh, that actually does figure out quite a bit of it. Okay, so outside something is A. That's definitely where the A has to go. Okay, so outside something is a poor substitute for inner something. I have no idea what these words are gonna be. Wait, I think the last word is worth. So if we do that... Oh, that actually... It didn't make any sound effects or anything, but it's now counting down the timer, so I guess I got it right. Outside shows a poor substitute for inner worth. That was really freaking tricky to figure out. I've been playing this for almost half an hour now. So yeah, you have to play them in order. I don't know what's going to happen if I hit new game. Okay, it remembers where you left off, so that's good. So yeah, I guess you're just trying to go through them all. So that was D-Quoter. It's definitely one of the more difficult of these kinds of games that I've played. Not necessarily because of, well, actually the way the graphics are done doesn't help, but just the quotes that are being used, like the things you're trying to decrypt here, Well, at least the first one was pretty tricky. This one would probably be a bit easier, but I've already spent a while playing this. I'm not going to spend too much longer on this. But I guess for $12, if you want a lot of these kinds of puzzles, then there you go. Next up, we have a team dig from Christian Topnik and Paul Shearer. WINGAMES /WC/under. Well, some kind of under something, like underground or underworld. All we got is 275 kilobyte executable. Now, let's see what happens. Notice, this game is Shareware. This game was made by Jonathan Reinberg. If you want to keep the game, you must send $5. Okay then. And I also like how this message is in a resizable window, which I seriously doubt is going to maximize. Yeah. Okay, so, Cats and Axes. That's an interesting name for a game. That wasn't what I was about to think of in terms of under anything. Although I guess it looks kind of like underground, but... Oh no, wait, it says Carts and Axes, sorry. Cats and Axes would have been a lot more interesting, but no, it's Carts and Axes. It's decidedly less interesting. Also, does it maximize? Probably not. I didn't think so. Okay, so file, new game exit, help, how to play about story, and ordering information, ! So yeah, I will send the money. Cross to my heart. How to play. How to play. First read the story. Okay. Okay then. Let's read the story. You are a poor farmer, digging what you can on your field and selling it for food. Then one day you discovered a hole in the ground by your land. You crawled into the hole only with an axe, then the hole closed up on you. You saw a note on the ground, you picked it up and read, "Dear reader, to get out of this cave you must find 15 pieces of treasure. Then you will give your treasure to the guardian above you, and you will be on your way. But beware, the mutated schmoods live down here. Beware." Okay, this feels like it was written by like a 13-year-old. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this probably was made by a young teen, or someone who was a young teen at the time, probably a bit older now, but... Okay, so I've read the story now. Okay, now to find a treasure, you must click on one of the gray spaces. This is a space. You will either find a schmood or a treasure. Remember isn't even spelled right. Remember, to get out, you must have 15 treasures. Good luck. Remember to select new game from the title file menu. Now, every time you find a treasure, you'll be warned of a schmood around you someplace. Take this into consideration as you click on a space, then see if you found a treasure. So basically the idea is, first of all, it's telling me where to click for my first clue here. And it's a schmood. Okay. Is that all it does? Like if I click somewhere else, that's also a schmood. Do I have to click here? It's treasure. Press here to go back to the main game screen, or press here for a clue. Clue? There is a treasure on the row where you are right now. Okay, say like right here? Okay, so do I have another hint? Treasure on the 4th row down from where you are right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4? Oh, that's a schmood. So it doesn't seem like I'm being penalized or anything. So do I just have to like click everywhere? Is that the goal here? Just click everywhere, find all the treasure, and then that's it? Like that's what I'm gonna try to do, because there doesn't seem to be anything else in these spaces other than schmoods and treasure. Oh, and I just clicked on one down here and it's like, good job, either you've gotten all 15 treasures, or you have found this treasure. Good job. You give the guardian your treasure, he examines it and lets you out. Good job. So that's like 3 good jobs. Remember to send $5 to Jonathan Reinberg. So, yeah, this is like the most basic of games possible. You can't lose. You can't technically win either. It's basically, you click this one for your first clue, and it gives you the clue, and then the idea is that you're supposed to find the next treasure based on this clue. By the way, this says it I think Visual Basic's having a breakdown here because that's a standard Visual Basic form label, and that's a standard label from Visual Basic. So I think I've slightly broken it. So yeah, this was Carts and Axes. It is a fixed game. There's every single one of these spaces is the same every time you click on them. So there's technically no way to lose, but also technically no real way to win because that's the winning space right there. Like, the whole point of the game is just to find this winning space, and apparently the hints you're given will ultimately get you to this space, but as you can see from the way this plays, like if I close this, whoops, didn't want to do that, close this, go back in, run the program, okay, click here, I win. Like, that's all there is to it. You could literally beat this game in 1 second. And our last dig for today from RetroSwim is WINGAMES /unclassified/Sky. And now to go from underground searching for treasure to into the sky. What we got here? I got some DAT files, help, write file, files.txt, which is just telling us what files should be here, so probably a good thing, just in case something isn't distributed properly. Well, let's start with the help file here. So we got Sky Planetarium. Yeah, the help file's not really saying a lot about what the program does, although I get the feeling this might be like a Starfield viewer or plotter, maybe? Like, those kind of were semi-popular at the time. How much did they want for this? Apparently this was made by Howard Dutton for Windows 3.0, so it might not even work properly, but we'll see soon enough. And yeah, apparently registration is $25, so this program better work really well, but we'll see in a second. So software is not free, you have to register, etc., continue. Okay, so we got a blank screen so far. Okay, so maximizing does have some merit, because it looks like if you don't maximize, you have to scroll the screen. So we'll leave it maximized. Okay, so we have the ability to display a compass, which I'm not sure if that helps me any at the moment. You got this view. Okay. Okay. Okay, clicking just makes beeping sounds. So it's definitely a Starfield program of some kind here. I guess it would help if we put in some information here. So location, observation, location. So it looks like there's a bunch of built-in locations here. What's one that's close to me? Because these all look like American locations. Oh no, some of them aren't. We got Dublin, Ireland here. I think a common one for me, which would be closest, would probably be Toronto here in Canada. Because this is a big list, so it's not going to be easy to find stuff. So scroll down. It has Tokyo, Japan, Toronto, Canada. Yep, I had a feeling it would be in here. So let's go with that. And then, okay, doing display this view again just sort of shifted it up a bit. I don't know why. So what's the date? 11/8/2022. That it is. Well, actually, technically, the date is now. It's rolled over. I started recording right before midnight on the 8th, so it's now technically the 9th. I guess I can go and adjust that. So set it to the 9th, and then the time is. Yeah, it seems to be off. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, so what's the time? So the time is presently. If it wants 24-hour format, then that's going to be 0:44. Yeah, and it just sort of moved it up a bit more. Like, I'm not sure what exactly is going on here. Like, if I go back to this window, yeah, it's just letting me scroll it. So it's definitely supposed to be maximized like this, but I'm trying to figure out how to actually see anything here. Like, if I go to magnification, magnify how many times? If I go 2, and then display this view. Yeah, that's not really helping much. Oh no, that's interesting though. If I right-click while I'm like pointing at anywhere on here, like say there's a star right here. If I right click near it, then it will tell me the star that my right click was near. Like it says here, search located a star. Apparently this star's name is Algenib. Designation GAM Pegasus, spectral type, spectral class, magnitude. And if I hit center and then display this view, it centers the view on that star. And this right up here is actually the moon. If I right click, it actually says search found the moon. Constellation Taurus, phase full. It's actually right about the phase full too. So I mean, this program is definitely working in terms of trying to look up things. It's difficult to figure out how exact. Also, it keeps popping up the registration thing, but whatever. It's kind of difficult to figure out like what I should be doing with this. Just in terms of the view, like the last time I used a program like this was, I think, it's over a decade ago. But the thing is the last time I used a program like this, the way it presented the view was to do it as if you were an observer on the planet looking up towards the sky. But this kind of doesn't feel like that since there's this big circle around everything. Because again, if I go back to magnification 1 and refresh the view, yeah, this doesn't really help me figure out like what it is I'm looking at. The only thing I can think of is that maybe this central point of the circle is directly above me at this moment. And then depending on which direction I'm looking, will go towards these edges. So this circle here represents the horizon. Like, that's the only thing I can think of that would make sense in terms of this projection. Yeah, but then at the same time, like, I mean, when I adjusted the time here, I put it to 044. If I put it to 144 and then refresh the view, okay. So it's sort of spun the view a little, but it still shifted it up like that. Okay, so if I went into the options here and changed the centering, and I set it to center on the zenith, and that's actually keeping it perfectly centered now whenever the time changes. So if I set this back to the current time, which is now actually more like 0050, and then go display this view, yeah, you can see it's staying centered properly now. And so there's also options here so that you can turn on and off particular items, limit the magnitude. So I guess if the magnitude of a star is if I change the magnitude and go to display this view, yeah, so now it's only displaying the really bright stars in the sky. So that'd be a good way to try and figure out where certain constellations are, since mostly the constellations are usually figured out by the brightest objects in the sky. Whereas if you limit the magnitude to something really low, then you're going to see, yeah, a lot of stuff. So that was Sky Planetarium. It's a little tricky to use, and I don't like the fact that it doesn't automatically refresh, but it's definitely pretty powerful with a lot of information tucked away in it. Now, not every star seems to be in here. It's like this one came up empty, but if I click on something that's a little brighter, I'll probably, yeah, found Aldebaran. But yeah, it's a little tricky to use, doesn't update automatically, but other than that, does seem to work fairly decently. I think if you knew more about the terminology and everything going on here, which I don't, it would probably be more useful in terms of like tracking stuff through the sky and everything. Because it's not updating in real time though, and I actually do own some DOS software from way back when that does update in real time, this doesn't strike me as the best software you could get for this kind of thing at the time that this was made. Because if we go to the About here, we can see that this was 1991. And I'm pretty sure the DOS software I have is from 89. So you can do better than this, but for what this isn't bad.